Hello beauty queens, beauty kings, and every beauty in between. If you're new here, my name is Faith.
We are sponsored today, so I wanted to do a really quick video with our sponsor. Thrive Market has all the top premium healthy and organic products that I usually get from a grocery store, but unlike your typical organic and non-GMO products that are marked up to premium prices, Thrive Market sells the same premium products at wholesale prices, so they're actually much more affordable. To check them out, my link is going to be in that description box. Feel free to click on that and save today with Thrive Market.
Today we're going to get into another component meal prepping video. To see what we're meal prepping, feel free to check out the blog at faithingandellis.com. We have some barbecue Crockpot turkey meatballs. We are also doing fajita chicken, and then I've got my little 90-second rice, and we are making a cauliflower mash as well. So check those out. Oh, yo. I don't even know where to start with this story, but we're just gonna dive right into it. I remember hearing about this story, oh gosh, I feel like I was really young, but I actually wasn't that young. I think I had just graduated high school. So this is a little bit, just quick disclaimer, there are going to be things about animals. I'm going to watch how deep I get into things just because we're cooking, there's food, you know, normally I'll post pictures of who and what we're talking about. I'm going to be very particular with those because it's nasty, y'all. And like I said, we're dealing with food. I want y'all to enjoy the story, but also look at the food and be appetizing as well. So I'm going to be very careful about that. This is going to be about a guy who was here in Clemmons and Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's where our story mostly took place. But it does begin in San Francisco, California. On August 2nd of 1978, John Lawson was born in San Francisco, California, to Miss Cynthia James. Now, later, we will see that John Lawson changes his name, but there's not a whole lot on his background. In fact, one of the documentaries called The Devil You Know Confession Stories or something like that by, oh gosh, Deborah, I think her name was Deborah. I need to look that back up. But she did a documentary, and the Devil You Know documentary confirms that the stories on John Lawson's background are very hazy. There's like very little information. And we'll get into this a little bit, but I think it also has to deal with his mother. I don't think she was 100% mentally well herself. She was quoted describing him as having a mental illness but not being a bad guy. Very early in his childhood, there are reports of where he would abuse animals. That's as far as I'm gonna go into that one, which it has been kind of linked that those qualities starting out in a young child often lead to, not all the time of course, but it's kind of a pathway towards a not that great adulthood if it's not immediately, dealt with. And it doesn't sound like a lot was dealt with in his childhood at all. At some point, and again, there's a lot of the story that's unclear, so at some point, John Lawson relocated from California here to North Carolina. The home he owned, was in Clemmons, North Carolina, which is a couple hours away from me, I'd say. But there's a lot of reports on him being in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm not sure exactly how that worked. Clemmons and Winston, I mean, I don't believe they're right next door to each other. So in some stories, it sounds like he lived in Winston, but the home that he was actually, resided in was in Clemmons, North Carolina. So it was in 2002 that Mr. John Lawson dubbed himself Pazuzu Algarad, I guess is how you say it. Pazuzu is actually a demon. He was said to have been Lucifer's right-hand man, and he's the king demon of the wind. So his thing is actually to bring war and famine. Interestingly enough, the demon Pazuzu in mythology, one of his followers is said to have been the Fae. And if y'all didn't know, I am a published author and my book surrounds the Fae. There's two kinds of Fae. There's the one that's spelled with a Y and there's one that's spelled with an A-E. The Fae that I wrote about are not those kinds of Fae. The Fae that followed Pazuzu are the EY. They are extremely malevolent. Now, in an effort to, of course, instill fear, Pazuzu, newly dubbed, had filed his teeth down to points in, a demonic appearance. And he also started to tattoo his face. I looked at pictures of him as a young boy. He was actually a very attractive young boy. And I have absolutely nothing against tattoos, but his personal doing so was for satanic beliefs and for specifically just trying to make people feel scared. Like, that's my thing. I have nothing wrong with piercings and tattoos. Of course, with this new look, this new name, which if you watched like The Exorcist, you know Pazuzu is the demon. So with all this rolling around, of course the North Carolina Southern community wasn't really accepting and welcoming to Mr. Pazuzu. In fact, he was so unwelcomed, he started to gain momentum with so many other rumors in regards to like animal killings and a lot of cult surrounding rumors out there about, what he was doing inside of his home and all these things. You'll hear a lot of times some kind of sexualized story surrounding this story with him, but I did find information that the media was trying to gain a lot of momentum utilizing sex and violence within Pazuzu's story to just kind of make it explode, as if the pictures surrounding everything weren't explosive enough, but whatever. As far as what exactly went on in the home, so one of Mr. Pazuzu's friends, of course his name was Crazy Dave, and Crazy Dave had made mention that most of what they did inside of the home were hung out and quote unquote did some heroin, sometimes cut themselves. I guess that was just a thing. I don't really know how that works. Do you just call up Crazy Dave and ask, like, are you in a mood to do some cutting tonight? Like, I don't know how that works. And I'm not shading or disvaluing. Cutting is actually a very real thing. But for them specifically, I think it was because they were high and into this cult-like, satanic, worshiping, whatever, sacrificial kind of belief. It wasn't I guess it was a mental thing, but y'all know what I'm saying. Crazy Dave was also quoted saying, oh God. So Crazy Dave was also quoted saying that, sometimes when he was over at Pazuzu's house and whatever, they would just sit around and drink birds' blood. I don't know what that means. Is that a thing, or is that just like a sacrificial thing? I don't know. He also continued to describe the home where Pazuzu resided and allowed people to just kind of come and go as they pleased, as very lawless. It sounded like you had a lot of free reign, There was commentary about how you could be in the home and just smash a TV or smash a bottle over someone's head and it was fine. There was talk about you could just shoot bullets into the wall. I mean, I don't understand what goes on into y'all's heads. Like, let me just come over to your place and destroy stuff, and then I get to go home to my place where nothing's destroyed. Cool. That's awesome. In 2010, Pazuzu was actually charged with a misdemeanor for putting his mom in a chokehold at the house. And from my understanding, she actually resided with him in the home. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, I don't know that she was quite well herself in her right mind, because it sounds a lot like she's trying to defend him. She thinks that he's a good person, and she's living in this filthy home where people are coming in and out at all hours doing whatever the crap they want there. So she couldn't have been 100% herself. I didn't look too hard into it because I really didn't feel like it was pertinent. I don't know if she's still alive or if she has since passed away. Now, in October 2014, the police were able to find the bodies of 2 young males who had went missing back in 2009. They ended up finding these bodies, one of which they found in Pazuzu's very own backyard, and it was Joshua Frederick Wetzler. He was 37 at the time, and Tommy Dean Welch. It was determined that they had both been shot and killed. A lot is unclear as to what led to this, if they had some kind of altercation with Pazuzu, but it was noted that Pazuzu had actually shot and killed one of the men, and then one of his fiancées actually shot and killed the other guy, and it was Amber Birch who had shot and killed the other guy. So Pazuzu was said to have had 2 fiancées, one of which was Amber Birch, and the other was Crystal Matlock. From the charges and everything, Matlock had never been convicted of a murder. She had been convicted of basically being an accessory, so she had actually helped to bury the bodies. There's no real information as to what led to these bodies being discovered. I don't know how the police ended up finding, especially the one who was buried in Pazuzu's backyard. They would have had to have had some kind of lead or, search warrant too to actually dig it up. Pazuzu and his fiancées were arrested, and at the age of 31 in 2010, Pazuzu had been charged as an accessory for the death of Joseph Emmerich Chandler. He was actually another one who Pazuzu had ended up shooting, and again, a lot of information on that story is unclear. I don't understand. I think because the media had influxed so much on this, I guess because it was more satanic focused, when police reports finally did come out, it sounds like the media got a hold and started twisting a lot of information. So I think for the most part, police tried to keep as much as they could, confidential. And then it was in 2014 that Pazuzu and Amber Birch had been charged for the killings of the body that was found on the property. Like I said, Crystal was charged as an accessory. She was dealt 4 years and 10 months for her time to serve in prison. Now, in October 2014, the police had actually, went to the home. They had declared it unfit for habitation, and it finally foreclosed in March 2005, where the bank decided to have it demolished in April of 2015. I just want to point out, this is why you check the land that you buy, because even if they demolished a property, I bet right now it has a brand new house sitting on it and nobody knows. When they actually had rights to go and dig up the property, they found multiple animal remains on the yard, and I'm gonna say that Pazuzu did not have, nurture, and hold until the end of their time a bunch of puppies. Like, he just, I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know, he just doesn't seem like that kind of guy. In October of 2015, on October 28th at 4:32 a.m., Pazuzu had been found dead in his cell. Now, his autopsy revealed that the death was caused by a gash wound in his left arm. I think they said it was by his elbow, like by where your elbow bends, and he'd suffered so much blood loss from that. Rumors portrayed that he had inflicted the wound himself by biting himself enough with his filed teeth. Whether or not that's true, I don't have proof, and it was not released to the public. Again, the media gained so much momentum with this case. I think there's a lot of muddiness surrounding it and a lot of information that we just don't have, or misinformation that's floating around out there. I think Pazuzu had killed more than what we realize. We know he did it with animals. We know he did it with, three human victims, and only one of which were buried onto his property. I know there were rumors about cannibalism involved with his satanic rituals and beliefs or whatever. If you decide to look up this case, you'll notice one of the biggest things is just the condition of the house. Like, it will give you chills. I'm not gonna put it up because, again, it's really disgusting. Just disclaimer, it's really disgusting. And it has, I mean, trash, satanic things are written all over the walls. It's just filthy. It literally looks like you probably killed a body in there and you just didn't clean it up, and you kind of just piled a lot of shit on top of it. I did hear, and I don't know if it's true, but I did hear rumors of human waste just being throughout the house, which, if you're drunk and doing drugs and you're hitting each other over the head with bottles, chances are, y'all probably just went to a corner and pissed against the wall or whatever. It's just disgusting, and I don't understand how people live like this. I don't know what gets you to this point of feeling like you have to be this kind of person. I don't understand. I don't know. But anyways, this is Pazuzu Algarad. Fucking Pazuzu. Unfortunately, of Clemmons, North Carolina. He should have stayed in San Francisco.